I'm Arthur Smith, head of the Library and Archives here at the ROM Museum, and my guest today is Josh Morhart, who is Secretary to the Friends of Textiles and Costume. Today is a special day here at the library because we are going to be opening up a special box. Earlier this year, I made application for funding to acquire a very rare volume of drawings by Pablo Picasso for the ballet Le Tricon, the three-cornered hat. And so we were fortunate to get that funding. The reason why we wanted this particular album by Picasso from 1920 is because we actually have two of his costumes in our textile collections here at the ROM. And this volume here from Rotunda in 1983 actually shows the two costumes that Pablo Picasso designed. But we do not have the ancestry of these costumes documented in print, except for some cheap reprints. For example, this one done by Dover. So we are delighted now to actually have the album of the costumes, and it just arrived. We've not actually viewed it, so Josh is going to be opening the box and we'll actually have a look at them. Now, these plates that will be illustrating this album are pochoirs, which is a French technique for coloring engravings. So Picasso designed these drawings. He's commissioned by Diego of the Ballet Rouge in 1919, and the ballet was performed in London in 1919 and then again in Paris in 1920. And his friend Paul Rosenberg decided to publish his album of his drawings. So they were engraved and then colored, as I said, using the pochoir technique. So it's quite exciting for us.
I'm sure there's something in here.
There's the album with marbled boards and linen ties. So you want to do that in, Josh? The thing about pochoir technique for coloring, it's sort of like looking at a painting and having a photograph taken of it. You really need to see the pochoir or the earlier techniques for illustrating because they give much depth and color to it in a way that photography and digital images don't. This was issued in a limited edition of 250 copies, and we see this is number 74. This is the set of the plates that we have. There are 26 costumes for this particular ballet. It's actually considered one of the great masters of ballet. And it's been performed on various occasions. And it's a story that's, it's a love story actually, set in 18th century Spain. So the costumes are of a folklore tradition from that period in Spain. And they've even been commented on. So this album actually replicates Picasso's sketchbook. So these will be his actual comments on each costume. And he even goes into details, showing some Spanish designs of that period. The pochoir technique is a technique where each color is applied using a stencil. So it really enriches the colors, but it's incredibly labor intensive. It's a technique that was really perfected by the French during the Art Deco period and basically died out around the 1930s when color photography basically took over for the illustration of fashion costume. So they are quite colorful. And the joy that we have in having this volume here at the ROM is that we can now exhibit our costumes with the actual designs as envisaged by Picasso. And eventually, towards the end, we'll actually get to some costume set designs that he actually produced for the production as well. And we finally get to the piece that I've been looking and waiting for anxiously. And this is actually the costume that is in the ROM's collection. And it's the peasant's costume that the governor was required to wear at the end of the ballet when he was ridiculed by the people of the village. And that would be the carriage that he bore him into the village on his visit. And this is the second costume that's in the ROM's collection. The costume of the governor. Costumes for dance. And we come to our first scene for the ballet as he depicted it. And finally, the last scene. So these particular illustrations can be exhibited with the actual costume, but the collection itself resides in the library and archives here at the ROM, and our collections are open to the public each weekday, and our special collections, numbering over 6,000 rare and scarce volumes, can be viewed at any time during our open hours. We're happy to bring them out and have you look at them. It's quite an exquisite collection, and we're so delighted to have this new addition to the ROM's costume and fashion collections here in the library.